Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 116 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast for all things vegan. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Do you love the podcast? Want to help me keep it going? Visit the Support the Podcast tab on my website to learn more. Join me on alternating Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for an hour of meditation. Sign-up options include individual sessions, a monthly subscription, or a 10-session package good for 6 months. I have joined forces with Jennifer Shlomovich of The Confident Vegan to bring you the next great thing in morning TV, That Vegan Morning Show, which airs on YouTube every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Join our mailing list and get a free recipe ebook of some of our favorites. Today, I am joined by nutritionist and podcaster speaker Callum Weir. Callum is a certified nutritionist with a passion for plant-based living that goes far beyond what's on the plate. Known for his energetic, grounded, and deeply human approach to health, Callum works at the intersection of nutrition, performance, sustainability, and purpose, helping people unlock their full potential through plants. The Plant Fueled podcast explores the power of plant-based living through the lens of nutrition, performance, well-being, and sustainability. At his core, Callum is here to educate, inspire, and build a healthier, more compassionate world, one plate and one person at a time. We have a really lively conversation about Callum's vegan journey, traveling the world as a vegan, protein, how to spot and avoid wellness trends, and so much more. Hey, Callum, welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So I know that you travel around a lot. Where are you talking to me from today?
At the moment, I am back in England.
Okay.
I'm back in England. I moved back here probably about a month ago. I was living in Bali prior to that.
Okay.
And then prior to that was Australia. And prior to that was the whole entire continent, basically, of the Americas. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's been a whirlwind, I would say 5 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm back.
I wonder, and I think we'll get to this a little bit later, but I wonder how all of this traveling kind of impacts your veganism and how you kind of interact with the world around you.
I think, I think when it comes to my vegan, and especially like going to various different countries, and I think we all have an aspect in our mind that it's going to be so much harder in some of these countries that you feel may not know too much about veganism. So let's say, for instance, Colombia. Like a lot of people assume that's like a very meat orientated country. And they probably wouldn't have a massive vegan scene. However, it is thriving there.
Nice.
The food's good. The food's amazing. And they have a vegan scene. They have vegan restaurants. And I think most people forget the fundamentals of especially in places like Mexico and downwards, that the fundamentals of our food are beans and rice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do get stuck and you are in a place where there's not tofu, tempeh, seitan, like a lot of the luxuries that we get in the Western world, I guess, that you're always going to find beans and rice, and you're always going to be fine, even if it's not the most exciting meal. Also, fruit and vegetables are always everywhere. You can kind of get those in every country. So if I have to kind of rely on maybe not as much food variety as possible, there's always going to be something there that will get me by. It's not like it's not like there's nothing there and there's only animal products and nothing else.
Right. And all the different spices and herbs, right? As you go from country to country, that's how we're flavoring our food anyway.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. There's so much different culture, there's so much different variety of spice and foods. And I think I'm lucky, obviously, living in England, where we unfortunately have colonized most of the world, but we then brought all those spices back with us. And we have such an array over here. So actually going to experiment with those things in the countries they originate from and actually try the foods how they're meant to be, and not just the English version of it. You get to see more cultured variety, more food, also spices that you don't realize, because the spices that people don't really know of, or like they may have only just been discovered, or
Mm.
they may just not be as, widely known. That all there, and you're just trying these new things, and it's beautiful to be able to just to explore those different cuisines.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous now. Callum, tell me about your vegan journey.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I think I was always heading that way without knowing it.
Mm.
Like when I was younger, when I was still eating meat, there was also something in me that was curious about vegetarianism and the vegan. I wouldn't say it was the vegan thing really, because veganism didn't it wasn't as crucial as it is now.
Mm.
People didn't really know about it, so it was more of the vegetarian thing. And I used to, be curious, try veggie sausages and like buy veggie sausages once in a while, and back then they tasted like wallpaper paste. They weren't great. Like they
Mhm.
were awful, but I still gave them a go. And I was always really, really curious. And I was always a massive, like a vegetable eater in the first place. And I just ate meat because we eat meat.
Mm.
So back then I would say I was more flexitarian before that word even existed, I guess. I was still eating meat, I was still smashing eggs, I was still eating chicken breasts, and I thought, I had to, the drill. Like you need protein, you got to be
Mm.
strong, you got that proper gym bro mentality.
Yeah.
With zero understanding of nutrition in the slightest.
Right.
It was more what I kind of saw on Men's Health and overheard from some guys curling weights at the gym. And I think the one moment that actually sticks with me is, so I had a friend back in the day called Amy that was wearing a T-shirt from PETA, the animal rights charity,
Mhm.
and it was a cartoon chicken, and on it said, "I am not a nugget."
Mm.
And at that point, that I was curious, and at the time I kind of laughed it off. It's just it was a cute hoodie, but I won't lie, it did make me think.
Mm.
So I went back, I went home and went on the PETA website later on that night and saw some stuff. As you do when you come
Mhm.
across any pizza,
Yep.
and it hit me, and it hit me hard. And I did what most people do when they're confronted with something that makes them feel uncomfortable, and I ignored it,
Mm.
like we do. And then I think years go by, and I started just naturally drifting away from meat, like not for health at first. It was really to do with ethics. And I think that was being around more mates that were vegetarian, going to college, and veganism had just kind of started up.
Mhm.
And you just start having those conversations. You're trying new foods, you're bit by bit, it's starting to make a bit more sense. And then I just stopped eating meat.
Mm.
And then I just, I was still eating fish and eggs, and then I dropped fish. I then dropped eggs, not for any real deep reason. I didn't know about the egg industry at that point. I just never realized. I realized I never actually liked them.
Mm.
So just stopped, and then because I was only eating them as I was supposed to be. And then I found out I was severely lactose intolerant.
Mm.
Didn't need a lactose intolerant test. It just needed to see what happened every time I had a milkshake. Like,
Yeah,
you
same.
kind of like, so that kind of forced my hand. I was like, you know what? I'm already leaning more plant-based. I want the vegan, ethical lifestyle. It just got easier along the way, and it kind of made me happen. So I can't remember how long ago that was now, because I didn't make some kind of like dramatic post like I'm vegan now
Yeah.
announcement or anything like that a lot of people do nowadays with like, the year and the date. I just did it like, quietly, naturally, and surprise, surprise, I didn't die. I didn't lose all my strength, didn't turn green, all these kind of scare stories that I think, people throw around. It just didn't happen. But obviously what did happen, I then got into nutrition, started learning, studying, questioning all the stuff I knew. And here I am, years down the line, still thriving.
Yeah. One thing that you said that really I think is so interesting is about the eggs and how you realized I don't even like these. And you'd been eating them your whole life up to that point.
Yeah.
And it
Like,
really
and
is, we're so conditioned.
that's the thing. Like it's very much like I was eating them because I thought, protein.
Mhm.
It's great. Like I used to have them in the only way I enjoyed them, and I say enjoy them, was in the poached version.
Mm.
So I didn't really like them as fried eggs. I found them gloopy, and you get that gooey, like, thing on the top.
Hmm.
Didn't like them really scrambled. Didn't like them in any other way. And poached was kind of like the only way I could have it, but with like a lot of black pepper and other things to cover up the taste.
Hmm.
Um, and because it looked aesthetically more pleasing. And that's lit, yeah. And then like once you kind of have a realization and have a word with yourself, and it's like, do I actually like this, or am I just eating it because I'm eating it?
Right.
And realistically, you're normally eating it because you're being told to, and there's
Hmm.
no real rhyme or reason. It's just how we've been indoctrinated over time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible how powerful that is.
Mm. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's very much like it's meeting people where they are as well, because not everybody's going to be on that exactly the same journey. So it's not like preaching about oh no, moral high stance or moral high horse against the people still eating eggs. It's just being like, hey, like, do you actually need them? Do you actually enjoy them? Or is it just the fact that you've been doing this for such a long time that it's
Right.
just part of your life?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, and I'm one of those people, even when the food that you're eating is hurting you, because I too, major lactose intolerance, you still keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to be vegan. And I just felt like, oh my God, cheese is so hard to give up. And every time I would have cheese or a milkshake or ice cream, I was sick to my stomach running for where is the nearest bathroom. So embarrassing. I'm like trying to date. I'm trying to be out with my friends. You hear my stomach rumbling and it's so bad. And I kept doing it.
I remember the first time. So mine came on more severely over time. And I remember the exact day that
Mm,
I was like, oh, this is bad, because I was in the middle of Budapest. It was like 40-degree heat. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's
me
hot.
neither.
Um, and I remember, like, I always felt a bit uncomfortable that I went for a burger with my friends, and it was a milkshake, and it was hot. I ate, and like half an hour later, I was like, I need to find a toilet, and I need to find
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah.
Like, and I was cramped up. I was on the floor of like it was a little mini Lego museum. I was on the floor there in a toilet for literally like an hour and a half, just trying
Mm,
to work out what's going on with me,
yeah.
and like realizing that this happened again when I ate cheese the next day, and I was like, okay,
Right.
this is the reason.
Yikes. It really just has a hold on you, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of leading into the next thing, protein. People, and I hate to be the vegan. I hate that we're going to have this conversation because it's like the vegans have to keep having this conversation because all the pre-vegans are still asking us about it. But I know that you know a lot about it. So I feel like you're a good person to have this conversation with. So often people are, but what about protein? You're going to get sick. You're going to die. You can't be strong. How are you going to live life? But you have a different take on this, and that protein is not the be all end all. There's actually other things that kind of matter
Yeah.
more. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so I think first off, I'm not trying to cancel protein in any way, shape, or form. I know there's some people in our vegan world that are being like, it's not important. It is still important. Protein's great. It's important. And if you want to build muscle, we want to recover properly, and maybe you're an athlete pushing your performance boundaries, it's definitely like a key player. But we have turned protein into this god-like nutrient
Mm.
that's apparently going to solve all our problems: energy, mood, fat loss, hangovers, you name it. Like, you see high protein slapped on literally everything. Like, you go down like a aisle in a supermarket, you got high protein cereal, high protein yogurt, high protein cookies, high protein water. Why we don't need high protein water? Like, water was good to start with. High protein jelly, for instance. No one's asking for any of
No.
this. Like, we have gone mad. We have gone mad,
Yeah.
and it's become a buzzword for health.
Mm.
And somewhere along the line, people have started believing more is better. And so then you have an office worker and there's nothing wrong with office workers, but there's an office worker who does 3,000 steps a day trying to hit 250 grams of protein, like they're stepping on the Mr. Olympia stage next week. Like, and I'm like, bro, you sit at a desk and walk to the
Yeah.
coffee shop at lunch. Like, you don't need that much protein. Like, and the irony is that most people aren't hitting the minimum fiber
Mm.
or omega-3 or iodine or magnesium, and that people are just out here double scooping protein powder into their oats in the morning, thinking it's the secret to feeling good.
Yeah.
And the irony is most people just aren't getting enough of the things that they actually need. So the reality is, like, protein isn't the full picture. Like, it's what, one slice of the pie.
Mm.
Like, the real game changer, as you might call it, for like energy or mental clarity or sharpness or hormonal balance, fill in gap of whatever somebody's going through. Even people's bloody motivation, like it's micronutrition. Like,
Mm.
you know, the vitamins, the minerals, the little guys that you really don't see flexed on Instagram. And most people are running low on them because they don't even know about them. Like,
Mm.
so, you know, I'm talking your magnesium, your zinc, your selenium, your copper, all your B vitamins, your vitamin A through to K2, all the stuff that's literally required for your body to function, um, to make energy, to support your nervous system, to allow like the precious protein that everybody loves to actually do its job. Because like, if you don't have those things in place, like for instance, if you're low on magnesium or you're low on calcium or you're low on vitamin D, your body can't optimally use protein. It can't build muscle. So no
Mm.
matter how many grams of protein somebody inhales, like if you're low on these other things, it's not working anyway.
Mm.
So, and then I think with that, like you go onto a plant-based diet, you become vegan, and people are like, you know, B12, iron, you know, calcium, omega-3. They're the ones we kind of hear on like a day-to-day basis, you know,
Mm-hmm.
along with protein. And then there's so many others just kind of flying under the radar that
Mm.
no one's talking about, like, you know, your manganese, like your copper, your iodine, your selenium. And I know that sounds like I'm naming Pokemon, but like it's they're real things that your body genuinely needs. And this is on any diet. This isn't just, you know, vegans, and this isn't just
Mm-hmm.
a vegan are deficient on everything thing. This is kind of like a worldwide issue that everybody should be taken care of.
Mm.
But it's not really about avoiding, I'd say, deficiency. It's just about optimizing for your life, like performance, mood, your drive. The difference between, you know, getting by and actually generally just feeling energized and in somewhat control of your health,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is such a low standard these days as well. Like,
Yeah.
people don't realize because we're so used to just feeling a bit run down and a
Yes.
bit like, you know, overworked or overstressed, that we're like, oh, maybe we'll just fix this, but maybe we should have some protein.
Yeah.
It's not going to fix
Right. Yeah. It's like I'm run down, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm probably working too much, or, you know, I don't take enough time for myself. And
it.
that's probably all true.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what if we're missing out on these, like you said, these little guys that really can make kind of everything else better. We can process things better. So like where do we find a lot of these different vitamins that you've mentioned?
So a lot of the vitamin and minerals that I have mentioned, like, there are some that are harder to find on a plant-based diet. You know, as we look at our B12 and we look at our K2 and vitamin D, for instance. But iron, um, iron is found in such an abundance of different foods, whether that be your dark leafy greens, whether that be your lentils or your beans. And it's non-heme iron, so it is a bit harder to absorb. Like, I can't lie about that. I wish I could lie about it. It's like, oh, like it's hard, it's easy to absorb. It is harder to absorb for the body. But if you're doing the right things and you're eating the right amount of, like, you know, foods like vitamin C,
Mhm.
that which will help absorb the iron,
Mm.
then you're going to be fine. And if you're avoiding coffee an hour before and an hour after eating your iron-rich meal, you're going to absorb iron. Like,
Ah.
coffee blocks it completely.
Hmm.
So, like, you look at things like iron. So you put those things into place, you'll be absolutely fine. Vitamin D, like, that comes from the sunshine. That's not a food thing we can deal with. Like, you know, take a supplement. And then we got things like vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is a bit harder. That really comes from, your more fermented foods and pickled foods. So like your sauerkraut, your kimchi and things like that. And yeah, that's not everybody's cups of tea. But if that's not your cup of tea, then, if you want to take a supplement, cool. If you want to take some sauerkraut or something a bit pickled, absolutely fine. Like they're important. And then a lot of the other nutrients, like if we take away calcium, for instance, because I think calcium is fortified in a lot of things that we have nowadays, that we can get calcium from leafy greens and things like that. However, when it comes to things like copper, when I think that copper, selenium, magnesium, manganese, molybdenum, any of these, they are trace minerals. Trace minerals, like they're easily to get from like a few sunflower seeds, for instance. So that's just like a hypothetical situation. I'm just naming a random food, but like because they're trace minerals, they're found in abundance in just food. However, because people aren't eating a wide variety of food, or they're eating beige food, or they're eating snacks and crisps and whatever else, they are missing out on some of these smaller nutrients that you can just get from eating, plants. So like for instance, I got called out the other day. Somebody asked me where you get your copper from as a vegan, and I was like, that is a really nuanced topic, and I don't know why anybody is asking that, because nobody's ever asked that in the whole no one's ever asking that. However, it's a trace mineral, so if you eat like some dark leafy greens, if you ate 2 beans, for instance, only 2 beans, not 2 portions, 2 beans, you'd be getting your copper. Like it's easy to get these trace minerals, but people are so reliant on, I would say, ultra processed foods these days, that there's a scarcity of nutrition. And these micronutrients, so easy to find, that just you need to be eating more of a variety of plants. So whether that's like your dark leafy greens, let's say that's your beans, some nuts and seeds, some tofu, some tempeh. Tempeh also would count for, K2, because that is fermented.
Oh, yeah.
So like if you're eating tempeh, you're going to be fine with it. But it's all these smaller ones. And I think as well, like you have selenium, which is Brazil nuts. Like have a Brazil nut or 2 a day and you should be absolutely fine. But it's just finding the right food. I think it's not scaring people. And I think that's the thing, because people be like, oh, there's all these nutrients to find. But that's on every single diet on the planet. That's not just a vegan thing. So like you finding those nutrients is easily done if you're just eating a varied diet. No matter what dietary pattern you're on. But if you're eating a very limited, like you're eating the same like 4 meals every single week, then there might be issues.
Yeah. I think it can feel overwhelming as you list out this, that, and the other thing. But when you say, well, if you're just eating a varied diet, I feel like we can find like excitement in that, because now we can explore. So many people like really love food, right? And even if you don't love like having to cook every night, there are things like beans that you can batch cook. So you'll always have beans. You're getting those nutrients. And we can like explore cultures, different cultures. There's cookbooks from all over the world. And a lot of things are easily veganized once you have kind of a rough idea of how to swap things in and out. But there are cookbooks, even vegan ones, and blogs online. Like we don't have, and maybe it's overwhelming, but we don't have any excuse anymore to not eat really exciting, varied food.
And I think as well, like, this is one thing that I say to a lot of people, is that like fueling your body isn't a luxury. Like it's kind of a necessity for showing up for your best self. So if you are someone that is drawn to more, beige foods and things like that, just add a few other things in there, add some vegetables.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be overhauling your whole entire life and, consisting only on plants and tofu and tempeh and stuff. If you still want your pizzas and stuff, great, have those. But add in some various other foods that are healthy. Like I don't think any of us are stupid. Like we know plant. There's a certain communities, but the majority of people know that plants are healthy, and plants can do us a world of good, or vegetables or fruits. It's just that people don't eat enough of them, and this has been an issue for a long time. Like people would put out like eat your 5 fruit and veg a day, which shouldn't really be like a that shouldn't be a slogan to be having. Like, it should be something we just do
Right.
naturally. I think prior to the food system we are in now, that probably was the way we ate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were eating, 5 fruit and veg. Never either or. If people had meat or whatever, cool. But most people had, fruit and vegetables on their plates.
Yeah.
And getting the right amount of nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, that's just not the way anymore.
Yeah. Mm. And I think too, in addition to like people maybe not knowing, I think so often we start to think like, "Oh, I'm just getting older and I just feel like shit because I'm getting older." And even the comedian Brian Regan, he has a joke about how the doctor, he goes to the doctor, is like, "Oh, my hip hurts." Well, I guess that's forever because that's just what happens. And it's, I think there's a lot in there where people don't realize how much power, whether you've adopted a fully vegan, lifestyle, or you're just trying to add more vegetables into whatever it is you're currently doing. I think people don't realize the power that they have.
Yeah, I that's absolutely right. Like, because I think a lot of people think, older age, you're gonna slowly break down.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna get decrepit and you're gonna do whatever. But your lifestyle, how you live up, like prior to, like, say, your 50s and 60s, is gonna show when you're in your 50s and 60s. If you've
Mm-hmm.
had a shitty lifestyle, um, where you've been, let's say, smoking and drinking and eating ultra processed foods the majority of the time, like, you can't think for a second that you're going to be in optimal health at that
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. Like, whereas if you've made a conscious effort, even if you are eating whatever else, but you made a conscious effort to maybe reduce, junk food, you reduce drinking, and eat a variety of different whole foods throughout, and you still have those tweaks, you have your pieces there and then there's that balance, you're going to have a better output at the end of your life.
Yeah.
And I think we're fed this narrative that when you get older, you're just going to get ill. When you get
Yeah.
older, you're just going to break. When you get
Mm-hmm.
older, and I think my mum is a great person for this as well, is the fact that my mum, she was slightly larger, and then had knee problems and issues and like a lot of other issues going on, and then went whole foods plant-based, and within those 4 years her health has optimized. It's got better. She's now like, for someone that has knee problems, to running a 10K
Wow.
is something that like, it's remarkable. And
Yeah.
I don't like, and she now looks after herself. Her diet is, various different plants, lentils, chickpeas, like vegetables every single day. And her health's only improved. And that was later on in life as well. That's when she got into her 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So things can be reversed if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2012, and she had surgery and she went through the chemo and that kind of stuff. And now here we are. How many years is it now? Do the math. But she is thriving and she eats, she went vegan years ago, and she takes care of herself. And she eats well. And every time she goes back to the doctor for a scan, the doctor says, "I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it." And like, he doesn't want the details because he knows she's told him, and he's just not willing to like see that, I guess. But he's always like, things are good, so keep it up. And you're right, like, you can make these tweaks even when you have something that feels really difficult, when your knees aren't working or you're facing cancer. And here are these two amazing ladies making life better for themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it is mindset. It is
Mm-hmm.
mindset. If you're willing to make a change for your better, then you're going to have those better outcomes. They may not be the end all and cure all of everything,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to alleviate symptoms.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, as long as, even if you're, even if you're not the healthiest person out there, but you make those healthier choices. Like, if you're going to be living on, Lucky Charms every day, yeah, you're not going to have the best outcomes. But
Right.
if you can make that conscious effort to do that, and like with your mom as an example, like, looking after herself and eating the way she does has, miraculously, helped like alleviate and cure like
Yeah.
a disease that a lot of people live with but won't change
Mm-hmm.
won't change anything to help that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like we were saying, it's within our power. We can make
Yeah,
significant change, and it matters. We don't have to be dying longer than we're living as we get older.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
So another thing that I really like about your approach to all of these things is your take on all of this like fear-based messaging that's out there, which I think you've kind of touched on talking about people, really hammering home the protein bit and how regular people who are, scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever can kind of spot those red flags and not fall like into that rabbit hole, if you will.
Yeah. So with fear-based messaging, we're allowed to swear in this podcast, but there's a few things about to come out. Um,
Yep, do it up.
Perfect. So firstly, what I need to mention is understanding your body's needs is more important than following trends. That is like number one. But fear-based food messaging is fucking everywhere.
Mm,
And it used to be so much easier to spot. Like back in the day, it was detox teas, skinny coffee, appetite
mhm.
supplement, lollipops. Anything with the word summer shred slapped across it and then a countdown to New Year's used to appear like they used to appear 3 times a year. It used to be
Yeah.
like before New Year, before summer, and just after Christmas.
Hmm.
And the times that people want to kind of get into shape. And it was basically take this, look like this, ASAP, snake
Yep.
oil, but it's in like neon packaging. Like that's basically it was easy to spot. I think people
Hmm.
knew we had detox teas. And then now it's evolved. Like the marketing's smarter, the
Mm.
messaging's clearer, and we've gone from, drink this tea to lose belly fat to, influencers shirtless telling you kale is toxic and
Ugh.
almonds are high in anti-nutrients. We've gone from blatant bullshit to science sounding bullshit,
Mhm.
like, which is even more dangerous because when it sounds sciencey, it feels more legit.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: like fear sells. It always has done. It's why the tabloids work. It's why clickbait headlines work. It's why YouTube thumbnails work, and it's definitely why wellness influencers do so well.
Mm.
Like if you make someone feel scared, if you make someone feel confused, if you make someone feel like their body's broken, uh, and then you can offer them the fix,
Mm.
you've got a customer for life, basically. And that's kind of the playbook every single time.
Yeah.
And if I'm someone standing there, or if someone's standing there, topless, shredded, selling you their secret to energy or focus or weight loss, and that secret just so happens to be behind a paywall
Mm.
or a tub of something with their name on it, like that's a fucking red flag.
Yeah.
Like, and people don't realize this. And it like, so if someone's telling you to like avoid like certain foods because it clogs your cells, or like it blocks your detox pathways or whatever they're putting out, and then conveniently offers you like a $49.99 solution that also has 10% off if you
Mm.
use their name,
Mm.
that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Like, like, and if someone builds their whole life and whole brand demonizing one ingredient, like seed oils, for instance,
Mm.
or
Oh my
gluten, they're the
gosh.
two big ones at the moment, or God forbid, lentils. Then suddenly, surprise, surprise, they've launched our own line of beef tallow
Mm.
or like gut healing gummies. Like, it's not health education, it's just marketing but dressed up now in a lab coat to make it sound more sciencey.
Mm.
And I get it because I've fallen into these traps before. Like people are desperate to feel good.
Yeah.
They're exhausted. People want answers. Um, and we live in a world where everything we want is instant. like, we have Amazon Prime, we have Uber Eats, we have, TikTok dopamine loops.
Mm.
And so the thing is, like, this people start scrolling and be like, maybe this is the one thing that I'm missing to feel good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that fear takes hold, because it promises certainty in like a world that at the moment feels very messy and overwhelming.
Yeah.
But most of these trends aren't backed by actual science. They're just built on outrage. They're built on, constantly saying, this is bad, this is worse for you, this will kill you. And it is literally fishing for clicks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not education, it's not entertainment, and it's kind of cult marketing.
Yeah.
And I think also I fall into this trap. People have said to me, like, Callum, aren't you like an influencer? I'm not. I'm a nutritionist, but to a degree, sure, because I am on socials. Am I on podcasts? Yes. Am I, preaching about certain foods that are healthier? Yes. But I'm also not trying to convince you that your food's poisoning you so I can sell you an antidote. I'm not trying to sell you supplements. I'm not trying to sell you a course. And if I wanted to zone in on that, I probably could make money. Like, I could make a lot more money than I probably do if I zoned in on, like, but I'm not trying to terrify people into submission. Like, I want to empower people to more understand their health instead of kind of outsourcing their critical thinking to gym bros that are
Yeah.
shirtless.
Mm.
Like, it's, and this goes with every camp as well. Like, vegans do it,
Mm.
carnivores do it, raw food people do it, breatharians do it, like fruitarians. Like, you get the same scare tactics from all sides. Like, don't eat this, it'll kill you. Don't do this because it's going to cause you brain fog. Seed oils will destroy your mitochondria. Like, it's fear, 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 and no one's talking about balance anymore. No one's talking
Yeah.
about actual human context.
That's true. Yeah, it is very pointed. This one thing, that one thing, don't do this, only do that. Yeah. And then you're going to be out of balance, which probably then gives them an opportunity to go, oh, are you still not feeling well? Here's this other thing I offer.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
like, oh, like, so we're going to draw you in with the small thing
Hmm.
and then make it bigger. Like,
Yeah.
we're slowly going to sell you more things that are bigger, and this might be not be the issue because this didn't work for you, and
Mhm.
now we're going to go one bigger and one bigger. Oh, like, if this didn't help you, let me sell you my course.
Yep.
And my course. Once you finish that and you implemented everything, you're going to feel amazing. And when you don't, it's because you didn't implement the course right.
Right.
Like, and that, I think that's how you spot the red flags. Really, it's if the person's always anti something,
Mm.
like, and never gives real nuanced solution, red flag.
Yeah.
And if that person uses phrases like, your body shutting down or your liver overloaded, red flag. If that person's trying to make you scared of things that have been part of the human diet for years without science, because I think that can be
Hmm.
a very picky when it comes to, veganism. But without the science, then that's a red flag. And also if they act like the entire scientific community is wrong,
Yeah.
but they're right, that's the biggest flag.
Yeah. It baffles me when I see that. I feel very lucky that I am aware and not at this point finding myself kind of falling into that. But when I think back in my 20s, like I was taking Stacker 2 pills for a little while and going to the gym and like trying to kill it at the gym and like I just why can't I lose this last bit of weight? Oh, let's start popping these pills, they'll fix it. And they just made me feel worse. And thankfully because of that I started and then going vegetarian, then I started learning about food and taking it from there. But I think too with a lot of the fear that gets out there, it's also kind of stuff that a lot of people maybe want to hear because maybe they know that eating more vegetables is good for them, but they don't really want to. And then somebody says, "Hey, stop, seed oils are the demon. This is the problem. You're just eating too many seed oils." And they go, "Oh, well, I can stop doing that."
And that's the thing. With people, like people don't want to, they want to turn a blind eye to what they're actually doing. And like, I think we need to pretend, or people need to stop pretending that that's stupid.
Mhm.
Like, I think people like to pretend they're, ignorant to all this stuff. But like, you walk down a supermarket aisle, most of us know that the stuff on shelves isn't doing us any favors. No one's walking around a cereal aisle looking at Lucky Charms and thinking you're about to unlock ultimate health.
Right.
You're staring at a box of rainbow dust with cartoon marshmallows. Like, those colors don't exist in nature. But if you generally think that's like a balanced breakfast, you might need a quiet word with yourself. Like, but also if somebody does want to eat that as well, like, cool, that is their choice. That's not my business. But what matters is more the pattern, not the product itself. If you're smashing like, hyper processed sugar coated cereals 3 times a day and wondering why you feel flat, that's a conversation that needs to happen. But if you're eating a solid base of whole plant foods and then an odd bowl of childhood nostalgia on a Sunday morning, like, live your life,
Right.
mate. Like that's balance. And
Yeah.
that's where that's what the whole conversation is always missing. Like that nuance, like
Yeah.
everything's either this is going to heal you or this is going to kill you. Like there's no nuance, like that balance. Like I enjoy some shit food once in a while.
Yeah.
Like this comes from a guy that does nutrition for a living. Like I enjoy shit food, but also the majority of my diet is whole foods.
Yeah. I think you really hit on something, and I hope that people hear it and it resonates with them, because this idea of balance. I mean, thinking about other cultures, like we look at cultures that have eaten more vegetables and still had animal products, but like the focus was always the vegetables, and then maybe the animal products are a flavoring or just in addition to.
Yeah.
And how they have kind of always been balanced before they had nutritionists telling them, here's what you're supposed to be eating. Or even, people here in the US before, when we were growing our own food. Like you said earlier, we were just eating all this different stuff without thinking, am I balanced? And I bet that there were times where, because we were kind of more in tune with our bodies, and people who are paying attention to what they're eating probably would notice, like, oh, I feel I'm craving spinach today, because your body was like looking for something in spinach that you hadn't gotten because maybe you hadn't had spinach for a week.
It knew where your nutrients lied. It knew where your nutrients needed to come from. And because back then they didn't have access to what we have now, they knew if I get this, I'm gonna be, or your body knew that if I get this, I'm probably gonna feel better because this is a solution. But if somebody has been born and grown up on ultra processed foods, they are not gonna know if a carrot is meant to make them feel better.
Right.
Like they're not gonna know if that spinach is gonna make them feel better, because they don't know any different. And it is sad. And I don't think anybody's having those conversations, because, the younger generation, although they are now the healthier generation, they are also being drawn into those scare tactics, and they influence the pseudoscience. So like, while they are a cleverer and healthier generation, you then have a generation that also believes, like, only eating red meat and butter is going to cure your life. You're going to live forever. Like, it's a very confusing world that people are in. And especially in places like the States, like your food system isn't set up for like optimal health.
No, it is not. Like, not even close.
I spent a few months there, and is anything but optimal.
Yeah.
Like, I walk into a Walmart and I'm greeted with fucking cheese in a can. What the hell is cheese in a can? Like,
it's a delicacy here.
Yeah, you had Pop-Tarts and like neon blue like Gatorade and frozen pancakes wrapped in sausages on sticks.
Yep.
Like, there's an aisle dedicated to breakfast cereals that could fucking glow in the dark. Like, it's not food, it's just edible entertainment.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. That is so accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't come from the healthiest country. England's a shit show. But like, Like I stepped foot into the States and even went into a Whole Foods. And Whole Foods, like as much as it's meant to be the healthier option, is not the healthier option. Like it's
Mm-mm.
healthier than the standard.
Right. There are less neon colored foods at Whole
Yeah.
Foods for sure.
They're normal colored, but they're also crazy, crazy huge. Like I've never seen a blueberry the size of a blueberry than I have in America.
Yeah.
Like I mind blown.
Yeah, I don't know. We want things bigger and cheaper and yeah. And
Yeah.
so they find a way to do it. It is it's embarrassing.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think as well, like as much as a lot of people have issues with like the States, I do actually like the States. I think the States is a nice place. I actually think the people are very friendly and lovable. I just think that you've been dealt a shit hand,
Yeah.
like with like food, logic, like education.
Yeah.
You've been dealt a shit hand, and that's also not the population's fault. Like the large percent of the population, it's not their fault. They're in that way. It's a lot of capitalism. It's a lot of like big food and big pharma or whatever else.
Hmm.
And I feel bad for you guys more than I feel bad for the companies. And I think a lot of the world give you guys a lot of shit. Um, when realistically it's not the average person's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And yeah, the big food companies definitely have their hands in a lot of things that prevent us regular folk having access to just things that we really could
Yeah.
use and should have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating but so sad at the same time. And like it's broken. And I'm hoping that like as much as it's bad, like this whole Maha movement that you have at the moment, although it's run by a guy that sounds like he's shouting into a fan and steroids, like he's very very much like he probably wants to make the world healthier, whether he's going to do it in the right or wrong way. Um, like I don't know,
Mm.
but I feel like there might be some sort of shift, and I'm hoping it's for the best.
Mm.
But I also do think that like they've got the wrong person doing it.
Yeah, I think he is not. I think he's going to end up encouraging people to eat red meat and butter and avoid seed oils and
Hmm.
like I think it's going to go in the wrong direction. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's going to go in the wrong direction, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of emphasis maybe on eating some more fruit and veg and plants and things like that. Hopefully, I'm hoping so, because I think you can't have one without the other.
Yeah. Let's hope. And, thankfully, we have a pretty incredible organization here in the US called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dr. Neil Barnard and his team are always working toward trying to improve our food system and trying to, they really kind of cover the whole framework of veganism, right? Because they have a huge focus on animal testing, laboratories, shutting those down, showing universities and healthcare systems that there are better ways to determine safety with products and medicines and things like that. And then they have a whole other branch that focuses on food and the power of plants to improve our health, to balance us out, to make us, help us live that best life that we can. And they're located in Washington D.C., so they have a proximity to the people in power. And I just hope that they keep pushing it out, and maybe their voice will at some point be louder.
Fingers crossed. Yeah,
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Let's hope. Callum, this conversation has been wonderful. And I know I've learned a lot, and I feel already more empowered as far as thinking about those little things that I think I've been missing in my own diet and the way that I've been nourishing myself, and feeling like, okay, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I think that the listeners are going to walk away feeling that way too.
Thank you. I feel like it's very much it's been everything's made to be overcomplicated. And
Mhm.
if we just go with simple,
Yeah.
It's, the simplification of everything is great. Like,
Mhm.
it can be nuanced, but the over simplification of everything, like if you're eating, your protein, great, but make sure you're eating everything else,
Mhm.
because otherwise the body can't thrive the way it's meant to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all this protein stuff that you're trying to, all these benefits you're trying to get from the protein are not
Yeah,
going to be
like
there.
I think the main thing is, like, yes, if you're looking to become the next vegan bodybuilder,
Mhm.
then yeah, take in all the protein you need.
Right.
But the most people aren't looking to become a bodybuilder. Most people aren't looking to become the next, athlete. They're not looking
Mhm.
to, go to the Olympics. They may be looking to build a bit of muscle. But realistically, you don't need as much as you think you do.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that we're just in a world where it's protein, protein, protein. And
Yeah.
if we just focus on protein, 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 that's going to put us in many more issues later on down the line if you
Mhm.
don't look at all your other nutrients at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, and they will be your B vitamins, they will be your vitamins A to K2, and all the minerals as well. So, and yes, there's a list of them, but that easily found if you're just eating a varied diet. It's
Mhm.
not something that we just need to focus on and get over worried about, or like have that kind of like anxious kind of need to, really focus in and try get everything we need. It's easy if we just eat an abundance.
Yeah. I love it. I have one more question for you, but I just had a thought. I know that we're running low on time, but one thing that I've heard a lot recently, just quickly about protein, is how more protein means you're going to lose weight. And I've had a lot of people tell me that if you just like eat as like a 5 foot 1.5 inch person, that if I just was hitting like 125 or 135 grams of protein a day, then I would lose weight because that's why I'm not losing weight now.
Yeah, and once again, there's nuances to it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that yes, higher protein can make you lose weight. Um, but also you see that on people that do high carb diets,
Mm,
and we do that with high fat diets. So it's really about the calorie restriction, or the calorie density of the food. So yes, if you're eating higher protein, like if you want to hit the 150 grams a day to lose that weight, amazing, like go for it, but also hit all the other food with it.
mm,
And I think that's the nuance of it, is very much people be like, hey, if I just eat chicken breast and like beef and stuff like that, I'm going to lose weight. Of course you're going to lose weight, you've done an elimination diet.
mm.
um Whereas if you eat high protein, let's say you hit 150 grams, and like you've got room to intertwine like, fruits and vegetables into it, that's going to work exactly the same.
Mm.
You just don't need to be constant protein.
Yeah. It's almost like they're recommending the Atkins diet.
It's very,
But
very, yeah. It's
yeah.
the Atkins diet revamped.
Yeah.
It's revamped.
They just don't want to use that word anymore because people are like, oh, isn't that the guy that died of a heart attack following his own diet?
Yeah, that was like fear mongering number one, was that diet. So
Yeah.
that's where it kind of all started.
Hmm. Yeah. I remember I had a friend who he only ate cucumbers. Like everything else was meat. And like he was like down in the bacon and cheese and steaks and chicken breasts and then you would have cucumbers. He's like, cucumbers are the only vegetable that I can have because, they're the only ones that are safe on this diet. And I would be like, say what? It is the only thing safe on your diet. Everything else you're eating is going to kill you.
Ah, that's wild, because cucumber there is like 90% water. Of course, it's
Yeah.
the safest thing you got in your diet. That's absolutely wild. No, you see that with people doing like all cabbage soup diets and things like
Mm,
that. It's just insanity. But that is the thing. Yeah, eat your protein if you want to eat your protein, but just make sure you have a variety in there, and don't forget that plants also have protein.
right.
Like you're gonna build a high tolerance and a high percentage of protein if you're eating a wide variety of plants anyway, alongside your protein-rich plant foods.
Hmm.
So if you're having your tofu, have some beans with it. If you're having your tempeh, have some peas with it. Have like everything contains it, even if it's the smallest amount. Like no one's saying eat celery for like your protein.
Yeah.
Like, but it does have like, all 9 amino acids in it. Just a really, really small thing, like small minority in quantity.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't live on it.
Right. Gross. Celery and I have a love-hate relationship, so
I can only eat it if it's cooked in things. I can't eat it raw or drink it or just
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I tried that. Just as an addition to, not in like replacing things. The celery juice like in the morning, and it's so salty. I couldn't do it because it just tasted like a cup of salt. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not a fun one. It's not a fun
No,
one.
I'd rather eat it. And that's saying something. See, vegans can dislike certain vegetables too.
Exactly.
Callum, I've got one more question for you. How does hummus?
I can't imagine what it is.
Right? How does hummus show up in your life?
I do enjoy hummus. Actually, people seem to think I have a hate against hummus because on a lot of different reels, I do mention that it's not a protein source and we shouldn't be using it as our main source of protein. And people assume that I have people assume I have this hate towards it. I love hummus. And I will have hummus on like a weekly basis, but I prefer a hybrid flavored hummus. So I will mix 2 different flavor hummuses together.
Oh, I like that.
So I'll get like a flavor, much like a jalapeno hummus, or it doesn't have to be jalapeno, anything with a kick, anything with some sort of chili. So, but jalapeno is the easiest one to get.
Yeah.
Jalapeno, and then mix that with like a sun-dried tomato hummus.
Ooh.
And that absolutely rocks. It's absolutely fire. It's so good. You've got the acidity of like the sun-dried tomatoes, but in there with the kick of like the kick of the chili. So good.
I'm gonna do that. I'm going to the grocery store today.
It's phenomenal. You won't regret it.
Awesome. I will let you know how it works out.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Callum, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Welcome back. I had so much fun listening to this interview again. Callum's approach to being well is really accessible. Be sure to follow him on Instagram. His videos are fantastic. To connect with Callum, visit his website, plantfueled.co.uk. Follow him on Instagram at Plantfueled Nutrition. Follow him on Substack at Callum Weir. And finally on YouTube at Plantfueled. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating and leave a review. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends. If you're finding something good here, they will too. If you're a vegan or know a vegan who would be a great fit for the podcast, follow the Be a Guest link in the show notes. Fill out the quiz and I'll be in touch. Get on my mailing list and stay up to date on all things Did You Bring the Hummus? Get more info on how you can sign up for a meditation, one of my programs, or to support the podcast via the links in the show notes. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Finally, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at info@didyouBringTheHummus.com. Thanks for listening.